Chris Paul is about to do what the new Chris Paul does every commercial break.
I'm the new Chris Paul!
He's about to leave the building. The worst kept secret this offseason is that Chris Paul will be traded. The best kept secret was that Billy Donovan was moving on. That was so random. In this video, we're going over the Thunder's offseason, all the options for a Chris Paul trade package, including the best one, the best possible coach, and the next steps to a new era in Thunder basketball. Hey, it's Casey. Welcome to AM Hoops. Hit subscribe and notification bells, coming out with 5 videos per week, Monday through Friday. Always dropping at 5 Eastern. That is worth a subscribe. Also, if you are a Patreon member, it is worth a shout out. And today's shout out goes to Niels, all the way from Germany. I love chatting with him back and forth. He's one of our most active Patreon subscribers, trying to get his perspective from a fan of the league all the way in Germany. Obviously, Dennis Schroeder is one of his favorite players. He requested this OKC offseason video. Let's get to it. The offseason basics, their cap space, they have none. They do have the $9.3 million mid-level exception, the $3.6 million biannual exception, and 2 pretty fat trade exceptions. Their draft pick, number 25 overall, that they got from Denver. Their needs, veteran leadership now that Chris Paul should be moving on, and defense to replace the likes of Andre Robertson. Their relevant free agents, Robertson and Danilo Gallinari. Now we'll get to the Chris Paul trades in a bit, but first let's talk philosophy. This is really interesting for OKC. They will not bottom out to rebuild like the Hawks or the Cavaliers. They can rebuild while winning because of their draft treasure chest. OKC has 13 first-round picks and 3 pick swaps the next 7 years. They have the Clippers and the Rockets' future after their superstars are gone. That means the Thunder can draft later or use those picks in a big trade. Honestly, I think they should trade some of those picks for a superstar now or next year. Look, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander will be 28 years old in 2026. They can't wait for that. They need to cash some picks in early for a good player now to maximize their young talent. So with that philosophy, the first thing this offseason is to sign back Danilo Gallinari and extend both Dennis Schroeder and Steven Adams. OKC can afford to bring back good players and rebuild at the same time, like we said, and these guys were excellent last year. Gallo was as healthy as he's been in a decade while hitting 40% from downtown. Schroeder was a 6th Man of the Year candidate. He'll be great to start if Chris Paul leaves. And let's be honest, Steven Adams needs to be a Thunder for life. These are some of the less exciting moves this offseason, I know, but we have to mention them because they are on the to-do list. Next up is the draft. And at 25th overall, they should take Jahmi'us Ramsey from Texas Tech. As much as we love Andre Robertson and want to see a comeback, Ramsey would be the perfect replacement. He's a 3-and-D prospect shooting 43% from downtown and defending the perimeter. A young shooter in today's game, always a great fit, and Ramsey will be there in the late first round. Moving right along, the next question is what to do at head coach. Reports said that Billy Donovan wanted more clarity on OKC's future. They're not sure what the near future holds, but he wants to win now. And it's too bad because he was a great fit. He got along with the veterans. He knew how to develop young guys. They exceeded expectations. But it's time to look for the next coach, and I think a great fit would be Becky Hammon. Forget her gender, just look at this resume. She's been an assistant since 2014 in the league, but the lead assistant for Greg Popovich since 2018. She coached the Spurs to a summer league title with Jonathan Simmons as their best player. She's one of the greatest point guards in WNBA history, and this team has great young guards. The other candidates are assistant coaches out there with a few more years experience, and honestly, I do expect one of them to get the job, but I also think Becky Hammon would be a great fit. Now, let's talk the Chris Paul trade. Some people think OKC should keep CP3 because he did play so well. That's not happening. Not only did he post what looked to be a goodbye video.
Huge thank you to Oklahoma City, the fans, everybody for the way that you guys welcomed me back with open arms after starting my first 2 years in the city.
That's pretty clear, right? But also he upped his trade value and teams want him. Let's look at 3 trade packages for Chris Paul, then my pick as the best case scenario for OKC. First up, the Thunder trade CP3 to the Bucks for Eric Bledsoe, George Hill, Dante DiVincenzo, Robin Lopez, and their 2020 first-round pick. The Bucks need to win to keep Giannis, and this trade could make them a winner. They swap Bledsoe for an even better two-way point guard who is clutch and who doesn't completely crash in the postseason. The Thunder get another late first-round pick and a good young backup guard in DiVincenzo. The Knicks trade Julius Randle, Wayne Ellington, Taj Gibson, and the number 8 overall pick for Chris Paul. This is the Thunder cashing in CP3's value for a high lottery pick player. OKC takes Isaac Okoro, who is a defensive stud in this draft, or maybe Obi Toppin if he falls that far. In New York, Chris Paul is that star to attract other stars that they need, like Kawhi Leonard if things go wrong with the Clippers, or an outside shot at Giannis in 2021. But the best trade the Thunder could make is CP3 plus 4 first-round picks to Philly for Ben Simmons and Josh Richardson. This is the Thunder getting that superstar win-now player while retaining their option to rebuild later. Out of Philly and on OKC, Ben Simmons is the unquestioned best player with guys who can spread the floor around him like Gallinari, Schroeder, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. In this scenario, the Thunder don't trade their most valuable late first-rounders, so the win while rebuilding plan is still in effect. Philly's reason for the trade is obvious. They are picking Joel Embiid over Ben Simmons while replacing Simmons with a leader in Chris Paul. My biggest gripe about the Sixers really is that they need an actual leader. Imagine Chris Paul doing what he did for OKC, but with the talent that Philly already has on their roster. I think this is a win-win that both teams should consider. With the Chris Paul trade out of the way, it's time to look at free agency. And really, if you look at the Thunder's situation and their history, they don't do free agency. They have built through the draft, trades, and extending their own players. I mean, beyond not having a sexy city, this isn't really a team with cap space or a winning profile. They won't be on many free agents' wish list, but I could see them landing Chris Dunn for that mid-level exception. They'll have to pay him that much too to sign him, but why not? Dunn is one of the best defensive guards in the league, and their backcourt already has offense for days. Dunn just turned 26 years old. I would love to see his continued growth on an OKC team that wants to rebuild. So that's what I think OKC should do this offseason, but they have a lot of options. I'm telling you, they can win now and rebuild in the draft later. That is a very rare situation to find themselves. I think they should explore trading for a superstar like the CP3 for Ben Simmons situation that we talked about. No matter what, this team totally blew past our expectations this year. I think their offseason will be just as fun to watch. Support AM Hoops and click subscribe. Don't miss a daily NBA video.